Hello everybody, welcome back to Gelvin Valley. Wonderful map created by Wild Wes. Farming Simulator 15 is what we are on. An old game now, coming up even on 10 years. We are hauling straw post-harvest and hoping to make a little bit of money. Although, like I said in the previous episode, I intend to do a cost-benefit analysis to try to... Oh, it isn't. To try to see what whether it's worth it to continue doing this. So that is to come, Russell. It may take a little bit, a while to get it done. I wonder how far away I can be from these here bales and still pick them up. You know what? I didn't even set my timer. Let me do that right now. Just forget the details. I have a mod in here that shows the location of all the bales, which is kind of handy. So hopefully when I get this all done, there are no further dots on the field. Alright. Off we go to another field. If I'm not mistaken, this particular episode is my 200th on Gelvin Valley. A friend of mine, Reefy1952, I think that's his YouTube handle. He's a wonderful storyteller. Although I confess I have difficulty understanding him with his accent. I think he lives in Britain somewhere, maybe Wales, I don't recall exactly. He had, I think, was on Old Ridge Farm. He had well over 200 episodes on there. So I didn't set out to record on Gelvin Valley with any intent to try to break his record. But I do wonder now, as I think about it, maybe someone can mention it in the comments. I know there's lots of YouTubers out there who do farming sim, and is there anybody out there? I seem to recall that Reefy1952 maybe has 220, 230 episodes, something like that, on Old Ridge Farm. Is there anybody that has more episodes than that? I mean, has anybody, for example, done more than 1,000 episodes? I know there's plenty of guys out there that have maybe done more videos than that. But I mean a series on a single map in Farming Sim more than Reefy1952's 200 and some. And if you know of someone, I'd be interested in seeing it. I know there's an excellent YouTuber and storyteller by the name of Scroft who has like his Farmhand series. I don't know how many he has. Of course, those are all those are excellent quality episodes. So definitely an episode on that is worth probably all 200 of the ones that I have on here, which are just me jibber-jabbering. Rental contract for New Holland Big... What? Hey now, I thought I turned in the big baler, didn't I? I'm not sure what it's referring to when it says baler. Let me see if I can get in this gate. Right in here. Thank you. Alright. Wonder how many of this bales this trailer holds. Speed limit is 25 kilometers an hour. Well, I wasn't going over 25, I don't think. I bet it stopped you at 3 layers. That'd be my guess. I know in Farm Sim 17, I have a series on a 16x map. Yeah, it's not letting me put any more on. Alright, so let me just look at this here. Okay, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 8 per layer, 3 layers, 24 bales. We're going to head to town, get these over to the bale sell place. I probably technically should be going around these cars. Oh, I'm going to end up crushing that one like a tin can anyhow. Ah, we're almost here. Yeah, I've never noticed that before. That's kind of a fish pond right there. Or a little water fountain feature. I think I'm still unloading on the trailer. Yes, so see how far into this trigger do I need to go? It always messes with my... I need to install that mod. I think I understand a little bit more why guys put that in. Okay, so let me write a couple notes here. 24 bales. I gotta figure out how much I made on the round bales last session. Let me see, does it give me a total? No, it's gonna do 156 a bale. Oh, how cheap. So $156 a piece. That's gotta be what it's doing. Does it give me the finances? Yeah, it's definitely putting it down here and other. But hey, I'm whittling away at my negative balance. My banker is happy. I'm bringing money to the table and starting to pay things back. And I think by the time I get all these bales hauled, I gotta have some positive cash flow by the time we get there, but only time will tell. Here a little, there a little. But Russell could very well be right that all I'm doing is trading dollars. You know, it's costing me to rent this equipment, you know, which is nice equipment. You know, it isn't the cheapo stuff, you know, that I have on the farm. Actually, I've sold a lot of my stuff, you know, just to be able to hang on a little bit longer financially, especially while holding my land. Speed limit 25. Maybe what I need to do is... There, I'm at 25. And it's going to go under the ad as I go up the hill. So how about that? I think I'm on auto pickup now. I'm not going over. Oh, good grief. This thing's going to chastise me. First, stop the auto. Oh, good grief. Stop automatic baling. Alright, let's toggle. Oh, you know what it is? I wonder if... See, I'm in mile per hour. I gotta figure out kilometer per hour. Maybe I need to reduce this. Let me try 14. Yeah, that's seeming to work all right. Looks like I'll get another trailer out of this field. I think it'll be close anyhow. If I have another bale, another. No, I don't. Oh, bother. I could have had another load. Oh well. We know where to go. Alright, so you stopped auto load. Good for you, good for you. Anyway, while we're taking care of some of these bales, I thought of a topic that I wanted to talk about here that's kind of fresh on my mind based on something I'm working on at work. And of course, I can't give names or a lot of details. But we work... In my line of work, we work with a lot of family businesses. Looks like I should have gone the other way. And family businesses can really be great. I mean, where you have parents, usually a dad, starting a business, passes it on to his kids. Work, it's an environment where you can work with your kids. Sometimes your spouse can help you, and I know in the early days, everybody wants to be paid. But when money is tight, sometimes spouses can work together and they don't take much out of the business while they're in the process of building it. There's a lot of blood, sweat, and tears, that can go into it. And generally, the reason why people do it is they have an idea or something they want to try to better themselves. I mean, it's kind of, as we would say here in my country, it's the American way, to try to, oh, gracious me, I just went into a ditch, but you know what? This tractor will take care of it. So, I mean, people don't take on a family business. If you just carry a lunchbox and go to your employer day after day, there's certain stresses you don't have to endure that you do in a family business. And the only reason for taking that on is, the hope of reward. I mean, there's tremendous risk that can be taken on, but there's also the hope of reward. And some family businesses end up doing, fabulously. All right, we got another 24 bales. Let me see here. Boom. Still at 156 bales. All right, or a bale. I'm gonna go times 2. Yeah. All right. And we are, I know I've told everybody I'm in what's called public accounting. That's my profession. So we help many, many small businesses, individuals, negotiate the financial world, if you will. They may want us to help them with financial statements, to help them apply for a loan at a bank, or they may simply just want us to help them process their annual tax return, which everybody has to do and is very complicated and a lot of times, so we help them with that. Whatever it is, there's lots of consulting. They're interested in ideas, they need help with their bookkeeping and accounting. There's all sorts of things, we get into. One area, for example, is succession planning. I mean, that's a ticklish thing and a whole topic in its own right. Helping a business transition from the original owners to someone else. Maybe that's those other people are outside of the family, but a lot of times they're within the family. And the family business just seems to come with unique challenges that a lot of times other businesses, just don't have. I don't know why that is. I think it has to do, let me try to stay on top here. It has to do with basic family dynamics and expectations. And the business and the family are often equated as if they're the same thing when they're not. Business is business and family is family. You can love someone, you can like someone, but that doesn't necessarily mean you want to work with someone. And sometimes when family and business get mixed, that's probably why so many of them end up having lots of issues and difficulties, which we end up seeing in our office. And I've probably said it before, I'll say it again. We have a number of family businesses that come that they run fabulously. They're very professional, they're making money, they're working well together, and which is what you hope for. Those are the good ones. Then there are others where, for whatever reason, it just doesn't work. And I think I've said before that you wonder if they're even related with the way they talk to each other, and that if you handed them both a gun, they would try to do in the other person. I mean, I'm using some hyperbole, but the point is there's often a ton of animosity in family businesses, probably because they're mixing business and family expectations, and there are things that can come out of the woodwork. Things that happened way in the past. You just learn a ton about the family, especially when they get in loggerheads with each other. You always were the favorite of dad, or whatever. All sorts of silly things that can come out and hamper progress. You got to be able to get along in order to make money at some level. And if you can't, and if time is just spent bickering and fighting, well, it kind of makes it hard to focus on the business. Boom. Let me write that down. That's load number 3. Hey, we're under 10 grand in the hole. Our banker is definitely happy. Oh, that trigger in there. Wish it didn't. I gotta get around these signs. Yeah, see, all those signs have collisions. Thank you, Wes. Of course, we would have to avoid them in real life, so it's just as well. I'm wishing for a field entrance over there, but Wes didn't put one in. That's alright, so we'll head back the way that we know. So right now, I am working with a family that's having some difficulties, and it's the equivalent of a divorce. A husband and wife that can no longer get along, so they decide to part ways, and I think that's probably the easiest way to describe it. And anybody that's listening to this that's ever been through a divorce, I personally haven't, but they would probably understand, what that feels like. The emotions are high. There's rancor, sometimes over the dumbest things, probably even the people involved when they look back. It's like, what was I thinking? Maybe there's regret, maybe they make decisions, in the heat of the moment, in anger or whatever, that they later, regret doing. Who knows? It's all across the board. And, it happens also in business. So there's a family, that I'm working with. I say family. I'm really working just with a couple of members of the family, where they're trying to separate their affairs. A couple siblings are trying to separate out from another individual. And they really waited too long. It's gone on years with issues that they've had, and the folks still own, kind of a majority of the business, if you will, and never really did some succession planning to get it to the kids. And so there's just a whole bunch of showstoppers in here, that make negotiation and settling all this very, very difficult. When each party in a family lawyers up, as the phrase might be, they're spending lots and lots of money in professional fees, paying people like me to try to help them. And we do the best we can, and, to make sure there's no conflict of interest. I can only serve one particular party in all this. I can't serve all of them. So that makes it much more expensive when every family member, or every side, if you will, of a dispute needs their own counsel, just to make sure they're not getting shafted, or the short shrift, as it were. So it costs the family much more than it would cost them, obviously, if they got along. There's nothing like money. We may individually say, well, I don't particularly care about money. I just want to be happy. Well, you find out when money is involved just what that means to people if they make comments like that. I know I've mentioned before, I read the Bible, and, in there it has a phrase. It says, the love of money is the root of evil. Oh, hey, cool. There's the auction going. They're selling animals. So it doesn't say that money is evil. It says the love of money is evil. And probably most of us would say, well, I don't love money. But I think deep down in the human condition, we really do. We love it a whole lot more than we're ever willing to admit, because it's a way to measure something fairly objectively. If I have $2 and you have $1, we can objectively say that I have twice as much money as you do. I mean, that's just reality. So when a family is dealing with money issues, fairness comes out of the woodwork, those kinds of matters. In a family business, pulling your weight, in this particular case, there's a couple divisions of a company that are doing well and another division that isn't doing well, and this has caused issues. The one whose division isn't doing well has never acknowledged it until now, when they want to pull away the profitability, all of a sudden the thought on it is a little bit different. Hey, load. What's going on here? Oh, of course I'm not on the trailer. It would help if I got on the trailer. There we go. But it's just sad to see, and sometimes what we've noticed, when you're a professional advisor you come into the middle of a problem that's not your problem, it's someone else's, to try to help, and it's painful when you charge them the amount of money you have to get through it. But we have noticed in the past, sometimes family squabbles can be solved over the cost of professionals. At some point when they realize the cost, some of them will kiss and make up, if I can use a phrase kind of like that, and they will be mad at the advisors, and they will point a finger at us as if we're the problem. And you know what? I'm okay with that if our client solves their problem and their relationship with their family is restored, and in the meantime they've paid their bill, much as they may not have liked it. You know what? I think I'm good with that. That accomplishes a result. And even if blame is misplaced, I really don't care. What I do care about is that our clients, have whatever problems that they bring to us, that we can help them solve. And that's kind of a backhanded way of solving a problem, but like I say, you know what? I'll take it. Whoops, got some bales up here to mow down. So right now we're trying to help them through the ad, and there's something else that a person learns with this too. And I can't remember if I've commented on this in the past, but it's this concept of someone being adult supervision, if you will, in the affairs of life, such that when they lay down a law, that their word goes, that's exactly how it's going to be. So, for example, it'd be like someone coming to you and say, make my brother, cousin, or whatever divide our inheritance equally. And let's say they bring this to me and ask me to kind of arbitrate or whatever and fix it for them. And I don't have the power to do that. Nobody does. But it's as if we somehow hope or we think that someone out there has the ability to do it. And I know there are people who, are brilliant negotiators, but there is a hard reality out there, whether you're in business or personal life, is that for the most part, unless someone is mentally handicapped or whatever, everybody is their own sovereign individisobey. Nobody can make decisions for you or for me. We got to make our own decisions. Obviously, if we disobey a law, the law may intervene and make a decision for us. Whether it's incarcerating us, holding us against our will. Is that bus always here? Interesting. Huh. Maybe it's been here before and I just didn't notice. But short of a court order taking someone under threat of law, we can't force anyone to do anything. But it's almost as if we hope there is. Growing up in a home, if you had mom and dad, when you're small, their word goes. So whatever their decision is, the kids really can't do anything about it. There's no power. But when you have otherwise equal people behaving in a way that is in their interest, and if trust is lost between individuals or whatever, they're not going to just roll over and do something different just because someone says so, whether in the family or not in the family. So, but there's been a number of conversations, as we work through this, well, this should be tried, and the other party's kind of being obstinate, not wanting to negotiate even, but just being, stubborn, if you will, and just refusing to help. And this is what distrust does to people, and it's very sad. When you distrust someone else, you don't even want to do something very basic because you don't know what the motive of the other party is, or if they're trying to harm you, do something devious. It's just, like I say, it's very sad when a family in particular gets to this kind of circumstance. But I know I've seen in other instances too, again within the context of a family, let's say you have a husband and wife and loggerheads, and they are fighting over whatever, and they have a number of kids. And someone says, well, we need to get the kids out of there. Maybe that's something someone would say. But there again, you run into some harsh realities. Nobody, unless laws are being broken and the government authorities agree with you, nobody can just march into someone's home and say, you're unfit to parent, and therefore we're taking your kids away while you're, squabbling or whatever. You just can't do it. But when you have a family situation and there are problems, there's a whole lot of people that wish that could be done. And you know what? It's probably the right thing that should be done. But I'm just saying the harsh fact is nobody can make someone else do anything. You just can't. And if you were to try, say for example I just gave, and go take the kids out of the home, if there's an abusive parent and the other one isn't turning him in or whatever, you can try to go take the kids, but you know what happens then? Now you have committed a crime called kidnapping. And if you ever wanted to bring a husband and wife together, try kidnapping their kids, and they will then hate on you, and probably temporarily patch things up. So you can't do it. It's kind of like trying to convince somebody, say that has trouble with alcohol, you need to go into rehab. And as I understand it, you can't just force someone to do that against their will. It has to be voluntary. That's still 156 a male. So because we're all sovereign, that then makes family business transition and these kinds of, I can't even already drive backwards, negotiations very touchy, delicate, difficult, and they can just go round and around in circles. And in this case here, the parents who are elderly still own a significant portion of the business. So by all rights, they have some decision-making power, but when they refuse to do it for the kids or for the sake of the kids or to say what they want, it leaves the kids to squabble and figure things out on their own. And so sometimes you wish they would just step in and kind of take that role, which is in this case here is arguably something they should have done a long, long time ago, but didn't for whatever reason. it just exacerbates the situation and makes for a ton of frustration, to otherwise good people. And if you're in business, you're trying to make a buck, family business or otherwise, and you're constantly under stress because you can't stand the people that you're working with, or the everyday family in this case, bridges being burnt in the relationship, and there's just a whole lot of stress when you can't trust someone. I mean, it's a terrible thing, because you're working so hard for the sake of your family, your wife, your kids, husband, whatever the case may be. And I believe personally, these kinds of things shorten a person's life. Everybody handles stress differently, but it's just no fun getting up in the morning when you got to go to work with someone that you don't trust and you're basically coming to hate. Sad to say, that's kind of how some of these things go. And ultimately, like I say, I think it becomes a health thing where your life is literally shortened over angst. And should it be over angst? A little bit ago we talked about the love of money. Someone may say, well, what's the big deal? Just let it go. It isn't that big of a deal. Why sweat it? But it just doesn't work that way. We all just have this inherent sense of justice in us, or fairness. We want it to be fair. And when someone else appears to be getting away with something, it just grates on us. And never mind the fact that it's often hard to see when we have benefited by the efforts of someone else, and to give allowance and credit for that. But we definitely know the times when someone else appears to benefit off of our labors, and it just doesn't sit right. And so we have squabbles. And so I'm kind of, like I say, dealing with that situation. And another whole topic, I just had a class here, I think a week ago, maybe 2 weeks ago at this point, that was on family business succession. And it's tough and difficult, even when the family does get along, to figure out that when the parents step away from the business, who gets it, who has control of it, and all those issues that can blow things up in a family. Makes for an interesting world, and it's a lot of people look at what I do and they think it's boring, and they don't really know or understand just some of the things that we deal with, especially with family business. It is not boring at all. Hey, thank you so much, everyone, for coming along to see Gelvin Valley once more. I enjoyed the 200th episode here, and there's still a lot of farming that we need to do here on this map, so I will let you go for the moment and see you on the next one. Goodbye.